The wrestling podcast that sets all other podcasts apart. Covering news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. Your favorite weekly episodic podcast, Ramblers Unleashed, starts now.
Welcome back to it. Another edition of Ramblers Unleashed. We sincerely apologize. We weren't on last weekend. Just some things came up. Couldn't do the show. Really not a lot of news to talk about, but we are back and we have a stacked show for you this week. Hope you're having a good Saturday wherever you are. Hope the weather is beautiful wherever you are too. Let's go ahead and introduce the Ramblers to the show. First and foremost, the neighborhood heel. He is the heel that gets the job done, whatever that may be. And the only man that I know who will trail his ass to Saudi Arabia and tell the Saudis why Logan Paul isn't even on the same page as Cody Rhodes. He's the only guy that I also know that pops bigger for Joel Gertner than any of us here on this show. You can address him as Mr. Magus, but we call him the mighty Maximus Magus. Golfers clap. Max, how are you this week, man?
You know, let's not talk about how I'm doing. Let's talk about a couple other things. So first off, after discovering that one quote by Joel Gertner, I'm trying to distance myself from the man. I don't want us getting accused by Tony Khan of being the something of the podcast industry. We won't even mention what he said. But secondly, you're damn right I trekked through Saudi Arabia and told them that Logan Paul is not on Cody Rhodes' level. And the prince said, "Do you want to be the next Jared Khashoggi?" I said, "I'm out of here."
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're okay. I'm glad that you would check your ass over to Saudi Arabia in the business. But Max, thanks for being a part of the show today, as always. Next up, the man who needs no introduction, the man that I highly respect, emphasis highly, both in the wrestling industry and the podcast industry, as well as the marijuana industry. The man who catchphrase is and will always be Baron.
999.
There it is. That's my guy. The steel trap of pro wrestling knowledge. He is the high one. He is the Baron. Golfers clap. Baron, how are you, buddy?
Doing good, man. I missed you guys last week. It always feels like an eternity when we're not, live weekly. So it feels good to be back with you guys, man. Talk some wrestling.
Talk some wrestling. And
Because
finally,
he got high. That's
a guarantee at this point, folks.
Speaking of people getting high, though.
yes, finally, the producer of our show, the man, the myth, the absolute legend, for without his expertise in the use of his internet, this show would fail to exist. And as always, we love his missus because she graciously gifts us his time to do this show, and once in a while feeds him an edible. The host of Smashed His podcast and total nonstop impact with the latest TNA reviews on YouTube over any other podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the great and infamous J-Bone. Golfers clap. J-Bone, buddy, how are you, man?
I am here. Yes, I'm excited to do this. Last week was a bit of a hodgepodge of just life. We'll just say life happens.
Yeah,
right. It happens.
So sorry about no show. I'm excited to be doing this today. I miss you guys. It's only been a week, but I miss you guys.
Technically,
don't spread that around, but yeah, I miss you guys.
Right?
Oh, J-Bo, he missed us.
I missed
everybody.
I did.
I'm just sweetheart. But I'm glad everybody's here because we have a lot of wrestling news to talk about. Some of the stories that I was getting ready to talk about last week when we didn't do the show, I think still need to be brought up. But we have a stacked show for you. Of course, we have news on Queen and King of the Ring, as well as Asuka. We have news on the Tonga twins and the WoW fiasco, the Women of Wrestling fiasco. J-Bone will have some news from TNA. Also, some WrestleMania news. Jerry Lawler is in the news as well as Uncle Howdy. So let's get into this because we got a lot to discuss today. And let's talk about the Queen and King of the Ring tournaments. First, let's start with the Queens. First round, the Zoe Stark defeated Ivy Nile. Lyra Valkyrie defeated Dakota Kai. Probably butchered that. What is it?
Valkyria.
It's Lyria?
Valkyria.
Valkyria. Okay. Okay. Because we were looking this up, and I knew that you would say something if I butchered it.
He did say it before show.
Listen,
like, you know what?
Listen, you treat me like I'm just trying to be a dick when I correct you on your pronunciation and stuff, and it's not that. I'm actually trying to help. I promise. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
You're still full of crap.
Yeah, you're still full of shit, but I appreciate the help. Io Sky defeated Natalia. Nia Jax defeated Naomi. Bianca Belair defeated Candice LeRae. Jade Cargill over Piper Niven. Tiffany Stratton. It was Tiffy time over Mission, right? Max,
Michin.
Is it Mission? Mission. Okay. Michin. And then Shayna Baszler over Maxine Dupree. I'm going to give you these fucking names from now on.
Yeah, let Max pronounce these damn names. He's so worried about this.
Right.
You know, when I used to work at that place in Colorado when I was doing the private probation stuff, my boss would send out these emails with these memos, and I'd be like, boss, send it to me first. Let me proofread it. I send it back. You send to everybody. But stop sending it out with correcting it without correcting the spelling. You're supposed to be the smart boss.
That's funny. So that brings us to the quarterfinals. Io Sky defeated Shayna Baszler. Lyra Valkyria. There we go.
Hey,
That sounds good.
Zoe Stark. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Bianca Belair defeated Tiffany Stratton, so it's no longer Tiffy time, which sucks. And Nia Jax defeated Jade Cargill. I know. So now we move on to the semifinals, and I would assume this is going to be on Monday Night Raw. Lyra Valkyria over versus Io Sky, and Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax.
ooh,
Those are going to be the semifinals. And I would assume it's going to be on Raw, what, both Raw and SmackDown, or what?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not sure. Because it is possible that what they're doing is they may have to fight 2 matches to win the tournament at the King and Queen of the Ring. Oh,
I do know they announced on SmackDown that they're going to be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
so I assume they're probably going to maybe do those matches there. But I like the concept of old school where we got the finals, quarterfinals or whatever, semifinals, whatever the hell it is.
It does look like we're doing the semifinals on Monday and Friday. So we'll have Gunther versus Jay on Monday, Orton versus Tamatonga on Friday, and that is going to be a bloody match.
Oh man.
And then Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria on Monday, and Nia versus Bianca on Friday.
Okay.
And the finals will be at the Queen and King of the Ring.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, man, that's gonna be okay. So SmackDown's actually gonna be in Jeddah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Looks like it.
Wow.
Looks like it, and I would assume they're going to tape it before. I don't think they're going to go live.
I think they said they're going live. I think there was a big thing about it being taped or whatnot, but
no, because that's like on the other side of the world. There's no way it's going to be live.
Yeah, I would think they they wouldn't do it live. I think I would think if they did it like they did it with France, they would just.
Here's the thing: they have done it. I mean, this is if you live in Europe and you want to watch Raw or SmackDown live, you get up in the middle of the night. It's not tape delayed for them. It actually airs at that time, or they can DVR it. So it honestly would not surprise me if they decided, you know what, let's do the reverse for once.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be live. What the information I found there, the state that SmackDown won't be held.
Yeah.
I
So
don't think it copy and paste the whole thing, but
what Baron just posted to us in the private chat: WWE returning to Saudi Arabia. SmackDown will be held there for the first time during WrestleMania XL Night 2. They announced that SmackDown will be held live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on the 24th. Okay.
Yeah, but when it's going to air here is going to be the normal time on Friday night.
Yeah.
They're not going to FX or Fox, excuse me. Fox isn't going to air it in the middle of the day. You know what I mean?
They're not. No, they're definitely not going to do that.
But the Queen and King of the Ring will be during the day. It'll be like noon our time Saturday
on Peacock.
Right. That'll be live. Yeah.
Yes, that will be live. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's going to air normal time on Fox, 7:00 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. But if it's taped live, whatever the case may be, I have no idea. I would assume it's just going to be taped.
So, funny story on this exact subject. I was sitting here Thursday night watching something on TV, and for some reason, my brain thought that the tournament was this weekend, not next weekend. So when I pulled up my DVR to start something that I was trying to watch, and saw that SmackDown was DVRing, I'm like, are they actually doing this right now? And it's airing now, so I'd have to watch tonight's SmackDown. So I can watch tonight's SmackDown now. Turned out it was just an FS1 rebroadcast of last week's SmackDown that, for whatever reason, my DVR decided it was necessary to record.
Hey,
sometimes your cable systems will mislabel stuff as new as opposed to a repeat or whatever. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the King of the Ring tournament so far. First round, Jey Uso defeated Finn Balor. Dragunov defeated Ricochet. Gunther defeated Sheamus. It was Carmelo Hayes over Baron Corbin. Way to bury Baron Corbin. Tama Tonga and Angelo Dawkins. It was Tama Tonga. And we're going to discuss why I think and why J-Bone thinks they're going to push Tama like big time for this King of the Ring thing. Randy Orton defeated AJ Styles. LA Knight defeated Santos Escobar, and Kofi Kingston defeated Rey Mysterio. Now we move on to the quarterfinals, where it was Gunther over Kofi Kingston, Jey Uso over Dragunov. Randy Orton defeated Carmelo Hayes, and Tama Tonga over LA Knight. So now we have the semifinals, where it will be Jey Uso versus Gunther and Tama Tonga versus Randy Orton. Do we have J-Bone? You think you might have a prediction on this, man? Do you think that they're going, since Tama Tonga is the son of King Haku? Do you think Tama's gonna win this whole thing, or what?
I think honestly the bloodline is going to go all the way with this.
Yeah.
And I also think this possibly, because a lot of us have been waiting for a certain other bloodline guy to debut. We got Tama Tonga, who's in the finals or semifinals or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, he's in the semifinals.
We got his brother Tangaloa, who just debuted, which shocked everyone. No one knew that was coming, and that was great. That was a great surprise. Those two together is one of the most lethal teams in professional wrestling. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go look up some New Japan highlights. It's on YouTube. Go find it.
Yeah.
But
I think stuff though, because I don't know about his brother. And there's been a few comments from his brother.
Well, and that's just how he was booked. I mean, he was booked as a Mexican at one point. That's not his fault.
No, that's
he's
totally
done all
not his.
sorts of stuff. But anyways, Jacob Fatu, I think there's a real possibility that Jacob Fatu is going to, excuse me, debut this coming week or this next weekend, uh, helping Bloodline member Tonga win the whole shebang. I think that's how it's going to go. That's kind of a bold thing to say, but I think that's, I mean, to me, that's what makes sense. And I mean, it might piss a lot of people off because, you know, a lot of these guys are, you know, we'll just say the new kids on the block. Not really, you know what I mean, metaphorically speaking, of course. they're not dancing or nothing. They're slaying peoples. But yeah, I watched King Haku sit on the throne back in the day proudly, and I think he also had a rivalry with Harley Race, and that gets really fuzzy. But I enjoyed that stuff, man. I'm just old. I'm sorry, but but yeah, I think Tama Tonga's gonna take it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I it's history. It's good that they're tipping the hat to the with this whole bloodline thing. It's good that they're tipping the hat to all the people who have, their family that have come before them. So I think it's really cool to get to relive the history and dive into the history books because, I don't think Vince McMahon would have ever done anything like this. I know that he was the bloodline was when Vince McMahon was in power, but really diving back into the history of things, since Vince likes to erase a lot of stuff that happened back then. It's really cool that they're able to do this and bring some relativity to the story, bring it personal too. So I'm excited, man. Let's see where the bloodline is going to go.
A couple things on this. First off, he might have done it, but he would have done it half-assed, and we'd already be done with the bloodline story by now if this was a Vince McMahon story. That's why I love that Triple H is taking over, because they have done such a good job. They made me care about the Usos. Again, through this whole bloodline story, only a master storyteller could have brought me in and made me care about the Usos after all the shit that they did outside of the ring. Okay.
Right.
Now, I agree that Tama Tonga is going to win this tournament, and it doesn't even matter what side Jacob ends up on or if he even shows up at the tournament. However, I see things going a little differently than J-Bone, and I want to lay this out for you guys real quick. I agree that Jacob is probably going to show up at the tournament. But here's the thing. I don't think he's joining the bloodline right away. I think what's going to happen is I think that after Tama gets the win, I think it's going to be, as was pointed out in the chat by Courtney, I think it's going to be Tama versus Jay. And I think what's going to happen is Tama gets the win, Solo and Tonga Loa get in the ring, and the three of them are just putting boots to Jay. And I think we see the return of Jimmy, because Jimmy hasn't been seen since WrestleMania, since he lost. Well, no, since after WrestleMania when Solo beat him down for his loss to Jay. I think we're going to see the return of Jimmy. I think Jimmy's going to run down and try to make the save for Jay, because I believe he really feels bad about everything that's gone down. I think he misses Jay. So I think he rushes down to make the save, and they start putting the boots to him, and Jacob comes out. I think Jacob comes down, and right now he's the wild card. Is he going to help them do the beatdown, or is he going to back these two up? And I think what he does is I think he stands over the Usos and tells the other three, guys, we're family. We don't do this to family. Why are you guys doing this? And that's not to say he's not going to join them. I just don't think he joins them that night. I think he's setting this all up, and he doesn't turn until Roman returns.
Yeah. They could also they could also put the beating on Fatu. Fatu could stand behind or stand in front of the Usos and say, why are we doing this? We're family. And then Solo goes in on Jacob Fatu. And then Fatu has no choice but to join up with the Usos. So it really is bloodline versus bloodline.
Right.
Where do your loyalties lie? So
I'll tell you what, I think it's an absolute stroke of genius on Triple H's part and whoever's helping him, set these bloodline stories up.
Mm-hmm.
When there was a point where all we were talking about was Cody finishing his story, and then Roman, it's like, okay, we assume Roman's going to take a nice long break. He's been doing this for how many years? It's, one of the longest championship runs in history.
Yep.
And I think it's a stroke of genius that we're still talking about the bloodline and the story. This is kind of a matter of opinion, but in my opinion, it's bigger now than it was before, because it's like the whole bloodline. It's like Spider-Man universe. It's like the whole bloodline universe is expanding, and we got all these new members, and it's like, dude, it's chaos. It's a giant question mark each week. What's Paul Heyman gonna do? This is rad. I love it.
But can you imagine how big that match is going to be when you have the old generation bloodline, including The Rock, and you on one side, and you have the new generation of the bloodline, 4 guys that never got a real chance in the WWE until the bloodline story, standing on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I've got goosebumps just from thinking about it.
But this is
War Games.
Oh God,
that's what I'm saying.
Come on, man. Let's do that.
War Games are standard Survivor Series. Either way, it's going to be one hell of a match.
Yeah. And they could drag this out. I mean, this can go on and on and on because the damn family is so freaking huge. Everybody.
Wait. War Games is actually a custody of Paul Heyman match.
Paul Heyman on a pole match.
Paul Heyman on a pole. Yes. Book it.
The shark cage is hanging up it's all part of War Games, and Paul Heyman is like, strapped above both rings in the cage by himself in the suit. Just
book it.
Yeah. Do it like how they did Buff Bagwell's mom. Just bring her out on a forklift.
Trips was sitting back there in a story meeting a few months ago, and he's like, guys, you know what I really miss from the WCW days? I miss the Judy Bagwell on a pole match. I miss it. It's great. How do we incorporate that and make it relevant to our fans? Oh, Bloodline versus Bloodline with Heyman on a pole.
I love it.
I'm here for it. I'm fucking here for it. Give it to me at Mania, the biggest stage, Those are all great fantasy bookings, though. I dig it. I think we're all forgetting one person left in the tournament, and like as big as Bloodline is, the King and Queen ring usually is like, I always think it's like something to catapult someone to. You know what I'm saying? Like catapults them to the next level, kind of like for a title match or something along those lines. Bloodline doesn't need that. Bloodline has the hottest storyline in wrestling, in my opinion. I don't think there's anybody touching them. I think Gunther's going to win the whole thing. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Gunther a little bit.
But he doesn't really need the boost. I mean, he's just come off being our longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Yeah. I mean, how long was he the NXT champion? Yeah, I know that's considered. I mean, this guy is over. He doesn't really need a boost. All he's got to do is step into the ring, and he gets that reaction.
Yeah, but he's not as over as Jey Uso. He's not as over as the Bloodline. I think that is something that could, like the Bloodline does not need titles. They do not need any tournament wins that catapult them. They're in the biggest, in my mind, the biggest direction.
But they do need this to catapult the storyline.
I don't think they do. I don't. The storyline, I mean, in my mind, is there. I think adding a couple other people into the mix it's got to happen sooner or later. I just don't see them needing to do that at the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. I think it's another good position to kind of catapult someone a little bit higher.
Well, I think the way this is going to catapult this whole storyline is because you're now introducing new members, you're introducing new players to the game that are part of the family that need to be introduced, and they got to see where their alliances are going to align with. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. But they could do that on a typical Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. I think Jacob's tattoo being added into this, I don't think people are quite aware of how good he is on the mic. He is far better than anybody currently in the bloodline when it comes to mic work. And I don't think they want him to outshine Solo or
better than Heyman.
With the grit and kind of like attitude, I mean, like totally polar opposites. But I believe like the two, Jacob is like, he reminds me of like an unhinged, a little bit crazier version of like Dean Ambrose in my mind.
Yeah, but my question was, do you think he's better than Heyman on a mic?
No. Who's better than Heyman on the mic? Not too many people.
Right.
But I think he has a kind of like a position with like coming back with Roman or possibly coming when Rock shows up type deal. I think he's a little bigger name in my mind. But yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. But all I'm throwing out there is don't sleep on Gunther. I think he's gonna have that crown on his head.
Speaking of Gunther and how over the bloodline is, did you guys hear what happened after Raw went off the air Monday night?
No.
So Jay's out there and he's doing the yeet, and Pat McAfee got in the ring and did the yeet, and there's Gunther, and Jay's like, "Come on, do the yeet with us." According to witness reports from the audience, Gunther almost did the yeet and then just beat the hell out of Jay instead.
That's awesome. That's good.
That's like trying to get Undertaker to, break kayfabe, break character.
I was going to say, it's pretty much the same thing as when they tried to get Taker to break character, and he almost did it, and he's like, "Screw you guys."
It's kind of like when I don't know if you remember when Tommy Dreamer was in WWE and he did all that crazy shit, like he ate sandwiches off of the floor. And he was in the ring and he was still eating stuff. He had mustard all over his face. And here comes Taker out. And Taker gets in the ring and says, "You want to do some crazy stuff here? Drink my chew spit." And Tommy Dreamer actually drank Undertaker's chew spit to try to get him to break character.
What really pisses me off about all that is Tommy was doing it to keep the job. Taker was doing it because he was a loyal Vince man at the time. And Vince was trying to assert his dominance and say, "I don't care what the fans think of you. I'm the top dog and I'm in control. And no matter where you came from, you need to understand that." And I'm sorry, it was all meant to humiliate Tommy Dreamer. That's all that was.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And while Dreamer has made some mistakes over the years, I don't feel like he deserved that at all.
No. Nobody deserves that. Not at all.
Dreamer's a hardcore icon. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. Let's move on because we got a lot more to cover. Now Asuka was originally scheduled to take part in WWE's ongoing Queen of the Ring tournament, but she was pulled from the competition due to an injury. The nature of her injury wasn't clear, but she has not wrestled a match since losing her women's tag team titles on May 4th at Backlash in France. So for what it's worth, a couple of months ago, it was reported that Asuka suffered a knee injury on the March 15th episode of SmackDown. She was pulled from house shows that weekend, didn't wrestle for the rest of March, but she did work eight tag team matches from the start of April through Backlash on May 4th, including WrestleMania 40. So Asuka's saying just goodbye for now because she does need to take some time off, man.
Like Courtney just said, like there is a lot of injuries. Is this like the 5th or 6th person pulled from the tournament? I wonder, like what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on, why there's so many injuries, but there comes a time where
4, 5. Yeah, that's 5 that was pulled from this tournament alone.
Yeah. So I mean, there comes a time where people's bodies are just going to give out. You work you got to think of their travel schedule, their work schedule. You know, their bodies are going to get tired, they're going to get injured, they're going to get hurt, and they need time to recoup. That's why we're seeing, you know, we're not seeing Roman Reigns. He's not injured, but you know, we're not seeing Roman Reigns because he's got to have time to recoup. So
actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't nursing at least one or two injuries. I mean, yeah, he had the least amount of matches over his title run, but he put in some hellacious matches. And this is why I've said this before. The brand split is one of the best things out there for the roster because you can't push them as hard as 2 shows a week. Because I think about it. While you're going to have some people that aren't going to be on both shows, you're going to have people like Cody appearing on both shows. You're going to have Chad Gable will probably appear on both shows. And if you're working a match on both, you're doubling your chance for injury. And even though they're doing some house shows around their appearance for their show, this is best for everybody because it does reduce the amount of time that they're putting their body on the line in the ring. I will always support the brand split for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, last week, there was a lot of talk from the women of wrestling, and apparently it sparked a lot of controversy after it was announced that the Tonga twins left the company on social media. Now, allegations of bullying and harm towards other WoW wrestlers accompanied their departure, igniting a public debate surrounding the company's culture. Adding to the turmoil, another WoW talent recently departed the company, so they've made some social media posts on this. The twins really didn't mince words, and here's what they said. She said, we will be speaking out soon, but for now, we will leave it here. To all the women who are scared to speak up, we stand for you. You will no longer see us on WoW because we spoke up. You can't do this to good people who sacrifice their family. So evil, mess with us. You mess with our kids and family. That's personal. Wait on it. Tonga twins are now free agents. The marathon continues. Now, following that suit, Kelsey Lynn, also known as Vicky Lynn McCoy, announced her departure from WoW on the social media X. She echoed sentiments similar to what the Tonga twins said, suggesting that speaking up results in being let go. She took to social media, posted, quote, I wanted everyone to know that I am no longer with WoW. Speaking up equals released, especially after what happened to the Tonga twins. I can no longer be silent, but now, fuck WoW. Exploitation does not equal empowerment. So I haven't heard any news on this. I don't know exactly what's going on. Max, can you shed any light on it?
I've got something here. It's a follow-up. It doesn't really clear up the situation much, but this is something that came out in response to what they said. Amidst unexpected developments, current WoW talent Simone Williams made accusations against the twins, alleging bullying and harm inflicted upon fellow WoW wrestlers, contradicting their voluntary departure announcement. Williams claimed that the twins were actually fired from the promotion. On top of that, she criticized their behavior, labeling them as egotistical. And here's her quote. WoW has many flaws and has had a ton of growing pains with good and bad decisions along the way, but what's happening right now is not right. The Tonga twins were let go. They did not quit. The Tonga twins were called out because of their own actions of bullying talent, threatening talent, and acting off-brand online, all of which is documented and hopefully for their sake doesn't make it online. Women's empowerment isn't about burning a company down and taking everyone's jobs away from them because you didn't like being told no. When just hours before being let go, you're sending locker room leader motivational speeches in a company-wide group chat. WoW has a long way to go, that's clear, but I'll be damned if I let the ego of two very well-treated and pushed talent speak on our behalf out of spite. So then they fired back with, after the continuous lies and character assassination launched on us at the direction of WoW leadership, we have been forced into defending our names, our character, and culture. We are ready to finally release a public statement. So this sounds like it's getting worse, and I don't think it's going to get better before. I don't think it's going to get better before it gets bad.
That's crazy. I didn't see any of that. Wow.
Yeah. So I mean,
Literally,
it's
wow.
we're still. I mean, technically, we're still in a whole he said she said type of situation, but until more stuff comes out about this. But what's the culture like over in WoW? What are these wrestlers going through over at that promotion? I guess time will tell if this really does start to get worse. Time will definitely have to tell on that. So we if you follow that promotion, we really don't follow WoW. We probably should now, but if you are listening to this and you do follow WoW, please tell us if you hear anything, let us know, and we will definitely give you the credit for that. You can message us on our social media pages, facebook.com/Ramblers Unleashed. You can get at us on X at The Ramblers Pod. You see all the handles on all of our other Ramblers here. Scumbag Jordan with 3 N's, at Max Mages, at JBone5150. 3 N's, yes, not 1, not 2, but 3 N's. If you hear any news on WoW, or if you hear any news on any kind of wrestling promotion, just let us know. Send it over to us, and we will definitely, if we use a story, we'll give you credit for it.
Real quick, I just want to say I've known some Samoans, and while there are some exceptions to the rule out there, most of the Samoans, especially the ones in the wrestling business, have been very trustworthy.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think in today's society, like most companies, most businesses are, people are speaking out against them because, whether it's pay or mistreatment or harassment in the workplace, I mean, it's becoming a recurring thing, and people are finally speaking out on it. So hopefully everything is kosher and not too fucked up over there, because we don't like that. We don't deal with that shit. Man. Come on,
no,
everyone equally love each other. Peace and love, drop acid, not bombs.
But here's a question: do you think this is all like a big snowball effect after what happened with Vince McMahon? Do you think that what happened with Vince and all that stuff that's been hidden for all these years, do you think that people are actually looking at their promotions and saying, wow, this has been going on for so long, and now it's the whole wrestling version of the Me Too movement?
I don't think it's because of Vince. I just think people are, as citizens of the United States or the world, people are starting to, realize their worth is more than, their company. And that's a good thing. Speak out it, I think there's a lot of bullshit that people don't speak on, and I think they should call them out on it. You can always get another job.
I hear a lot of people, well, why'd she wait so long to report? Well, why, number one, they spend a lot of time being doubted for what they tell people. Hey, this is what happened to me. Are you sure? I mean, he doesn't seem like the kind that would do that. They are forced to relive it over and over and over. It's a traumatic experience. But when you see other people starting to step forward, and it's not necessarily just Vince, because we've seen this start becoming a bolstered thing over the last several years. I mean, the guy that used dick magic to win his matches, he got caught up in all this and is no longer a pro wrestler because of shit he pulled. I think I think we're still seeing the evolution of that whole movement, and people are finally getting the guts to step up and say, this is what's going on. Now, does that relate to being bullied in the locker room? It might, but I don't think that it's the same. I don't think these people are being bullied for those reasons, but I see people going, you know what, we're not going to be mistreated anymore. And if they can stand up to being mistreated, so can we. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think this is, again, just a matter of time. We have to wait it out and see what else is going to come of this from WoW. And again, we don't really keep up on Women of Wrestling, so if you are a fan of Women of Wrestling and you're a fan of the show, please hit us up. If you hear anything regarding the Tonga Twins or anything coming out of Women of Wrestling, we'll definitely love to know about it, and we'll credit you as the source of information. J-Bone is the host of Total Nonstop Impact with the latest TNA news, and you do have some news regarding Total Nonstop Action. So what's going on, man?
Oh yeah, I got a couple of news bits that I don't think
Joe Hendry.
they might have been partially covered on TNI within the last week or so, but some of this is pretty new. For those of you who may be familiar with the clothing company from the UK called Blacksmith Apparel, there's been several wrestlers who have been sponsored by this clothing company, say like a Will Ospreay or Pete Dunne, formerly known as Butch. He had one of the jerseys on. Several TNA roster members also sport the Blacksmith Apparel. It's a great line. It's for those who are into like the college, or not college, the European football, soccer, that style of jersey and stuff like that. Blacksmith puts out a lot of that style of t-shirts and jerseys and such, and always expanding. Well, the latest sponsored professional wrestler who recently came back to TNA is Mike Santana, is the most recent sponsored for Blacksmith. So keep an eye on the socials. If you follow Mike Santana or TNA or Blacksmith, keep an eye on that. And I'm sure Mike Santana is going to be sporting some new Blacksmith apparel soon. Also, looks like Zaya Brookside, who is one of the newest knockouts on the TNA roster, she is officially signed for a multi-year deal, and that is tremendous to see.
Awesome.
She has a great young talent. If you folks aren't following her and watching her content with TNA, or any other indies that she may do, I'm not sure if she's exclusive. I'm not sure, but everything she's been doing with TNA has been killing it ever since she left the ranks of the what was it, NXT UK, I guess.
Yeah.
Who's her dad? I forgot who her dad is.
That's
He's
her dad is
trainer, right?
Is it Donnie Brookside? I think his name is.
Damn it, I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, he's a legendary.
Bobby Brookside.
That's it. Yeah, he's a legendary name in the UK professional wrestling scene. Yeah,
That's awesome,
she's
man.
a trip off the old block.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear about Zaya Brookside finally getting signed with TNA, and it's good news about Mike Santana too, because these people can follow suit with Mike Santana and say, hey, get on with this clothing line, and that's extra money in their pocket, and it's a good representation for the company for that. So that's gonna be good, man. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. So yeah, unfortunately, Max, I don't think there was any news on Joe Hendry. I'm sorry about that.
Woo.
I know, but
his single is still in the charts. It's doing amazing. He was just featured. In fact, it was a quick segment on TNA, but they featured him in an interview on iHeartRadio talking about the success of his single. So there's a lot of believers out there.
I didn't know that was an actual single. I didn't know that was released like.
Oh, it's blowing up the UK charts. That's why it's just people are like, what? What's happening?
Apparently, 2 weeks ago, it hit #1 on iTunes in daily sales.
Yeah.
Well, that's impressive as hell.
I'm telling you, this is why I believe in Joe Hendry, because he does shit like that. That's impressive.
I know. Apparently, we all need to start believing in Joe Hendry.
He's also a home wrecker. He does a lot of things. So yeah,
he does. Yes, he's got his hands in a lot of things.
I mean, an apology to Top Dollar was top notch.
Yeah. So thank you with that, and of course, any other TNA news, you can definitely check out Total Nonstop Impact on YouTube, and J Bone is your host for that. Let's move on because we have more stuff to talk about, and there's been a lot of rumors that WrestleMania 43 was coming to Detroit after WrestleMania 40, one of the most successful events, setting records and making substantial business for the company. There were rumors that Detroit was aiming to host WrestleMania 43, but now those rumors have been debunked. Speculation emerged on social media about Detroit radio reporting that the Detroit Sports Commission was prepared to make a bid to bring WrestleMania back to the city in 2027. Now, this potential event would coincide, remember, with the 20-year anniversary of WrestleMania 23 in Detroit and the 40-year anniversary of WrestleMania 3 when it was also held in Michigan. However, in a statement to the Detroit News, the commission denied that they were currently working for a bid for WrestleMania 2027 while expressing their enthusiasm to host future events. Now, we all know that WWE is confirmed and they're already running promos for WrestleMania 41 in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium on April 19th and the 20th of next year. But it would be nice for them to bring WrestleMania to Detroit, especially after they've already hosted, two?
No, bring it to St. Louis. I don't care about Michigan. Get us to Missouri, man. It's our time.
Or just in the Midwest, for just in the general in the Midwest. Minnesota was supposedly in the rankings. There's also been news recently that as soon as American Family Stadium, to me, it's going to be Miller Park always in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They're in the running as soon as they get it winterized. Apparently, they're in the running for Royal Rumble, I guess, something like that. So it's like, hey, yeah, bring it, man. Start bringing these bigger ones. I mean, it's great that they're doing international, and it's really expanding. It's growing the brand, but you got to look at the hardcore Midwest fans that are always going to be there,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. Jerry Lawler is in the news. PW Insider reported that Lawler has officially parted ways with the WWE. Sources suggest that they quietly chose not to renew Lawler's broadcasting contract, marking the end of the partnership that begun in December 1992 when he made a surprise debut on Primetime Wrestling. It was further noted that the contract with WWE expired at the start of 2024. We've also heard reports that Lawler is currently under a Legends deal with WWE. Now, Jim Ross believes that he and Lawler will reunite somewhere down the road. So we'll have to wait and see whether that will happen in the end. But now it's being reported that Lawler is battling some health challenges following stroke scare last year, compounded by paralysis preceding the stroke. Lawler has been on a kind of a path to recovery, including double knee surgery. During a recent episode of Storytime with Dutch Mantell, though, Mantell was asked about Lawler's condition following the stroke, and he claims, now Mantrell claims that he had heard Jerry Lawler suffer a minor stroke within the last month. He said, quote, "I heard he had another one, a minor one, but he did have another one within the last 2 or 3 weeks. I heard, or it may have been a month, but there must have not been a lot to it." So whatever the case may be, we wish Lawler a very speedy recovery. And Baron and I were talking about this. Baron, you really just want him to take time and retire, right?
I mean, yeah, he's obviously up there in the age bracket. I don't think he's done any work in WWE in quite some time. Anyways, I mean, he's on a Legends contract. He always will be until he no longer can be. So he's still getting paid probably by WWE. But I mean, like, I think we're on the path of a new, obviously the new era of wrestling. I think time away from wrestling, you kind of start losing touch. I'm the biggest supporter of Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler and the Attitude Era '90s. So I loved them, absolutely do. But I also feel like they're not really accustomed to what we're doing now with wrestling. The few things I've heard from Jim Ross when he was in AEW is kind of rough to listen to, and I feel like the same would be with Jerry Lawler. And retirement, man. Y'all put in work, and we appreciate it. But
yeah. Now remember, he does have a Legends contract currently with the WWE. He's not part of the company anymore. So just to make that clear. But and it goes back to enjoy your retirement. I know all these guys still want to make money. I know that they still want to have some sort of part to do with wrestling. Do I necessarily want to see Lawler on AEW? No, not really, because I don't know what they do with them. If they would just bring him on like what they do with Jim Ross. It's good. It is still good to hear Jim Ross's voice. I will say that, but I'm never going to hear Lawler on anything else other than WWE. I can't.
Now he's our shiny little toy.
Yeah, I just don't think I would ever be able to hear him on any other promotion talking about anything else. So I just think that Lawler, especially with this whole stroke scare.
Yeah, get your health in order for sure.
Yeah, get your health in order, man. That's what you need to do, And if you got some money saved back from wrestling, from WWE, do that. But let just ride it out, man. This is it, man. You've done everything that you need to do, so just relax and let somebody else come along and have that time to shine.
Yeah, ain't no shame in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Anytime Lawler's health gets brought up, I'm transported back to that Monday Night Raw where I actually felt sympathy for Cole because Lawler had a heart attack on the table right next to him, and Cole had to sit there the entire rest of the show and do commentary by himself.
Yeah. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard to go through. I mean, somebody of that caliber of Lawler and Cole, seeing this all happen, right in front of his eyes, that's hard. That's hard to deal with, man. So Lawler, just take it easy and just enjoy your retirement, man. Thank you for the years of your contribution to the company and for our entertainment purposes inside of the ring and outside of the ring. Thank you. But just take your time and relax, man. You've definitely earned it. So let's move on to the last story that I have for us today. And that is this whole storyline involving the glitching QR codes on WWE TV regarding Uncle Howdy. We all know that it's Uncle Howdy, and it's both on Raw and it's on SmackDown. Now we're seemingly hinting at the potential location for the man rumored behind the mystery, which is Uncle Howdy. Now, during the broadcast on SmackDown, another QR code appeared this time during the tag team match between DIY and Angel and Barretto. When scanned, it led to an ominous video filled with repeated voiceovers and multiple glitches. An intriguing element that was unnoticed was the number 22423 in the URL of the web page. When you scan the QR code, it takes you to that URL. Now, interestingly enough, the number 22423 is the postal code to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, where WWE is going to host the King and Queen of the Ring. Moreover, the number that's also related to the date WWE released a video about Bray Wyatt titled "Can You Keep It a Secret?" in regards to Uncle Howdy, which also had the same voice doing the background narration on the video shown during SmackDown. And we've also been hearing numerous reports of multiple superstars returning to be a part of this Uncle Howdy faction. And with this new development, it does seem that the return of this dark force might happen next week at King of the Ring.
But wait, there's more.
There's a lot more. Go ahead.
If you scroll down, there's another date because most of those QR codes came with a long blank space below the video. There's another date. It's 4/7/14, I believe, which was a Monday Night Raw. And on that Monday Night Raw, the Wyatt family defeated John Cena, Sheamus, and Big E. And if you go a little further, there's a little dot. When you tap that dot, there's a picture of somebody pointing at their left forearm, but you can't see their face. And I'm wondering if this was something back in the Husky Harris era of Bray Wyatt, and I wonder if it was a tattoo on the arm that was being pointed at, but I can't really narrow down that picture. Now, if you go all the way to the bottom, there's the Nightbird, and if you tap that Nightbird, it takes you to an hour-long video that was broadcast on WWE's Twitch earlier in the week.
The Twitch. Yeah.
And it's the therapist sitting there talking to somebody that you don't see. And at the end of the video, a thing pops up, and the therapist has gone missing.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty dark. It's creepy. It's dark. The Twitch video is close to an hour long.
55 minutes.
Yeah, it's very creepy because, yeah, like you said, the therapist is just sitting there talking to the camera view, which you assume is, the patient's point of view.
Yeah.
And then you hear a bunch of like scribbling and stuff, and then you see a lot of static and things, little interferences and noises. It's all very well produced, but it's very creepy. It's right in line with what was happening with Bray before his recent comeback as well. So
I mean, this whole Uncle Howdy thing has just been absolutely creepy. And I'm not one for horror movies, so I've really not watched all these different QR code videos because I don't like it. I don't like that shit. But it is good how they're producing it and how they're making such a huge deal out of the Uncle Howdy faction because of Bray. And that's awesome. That's awesome to see that that the WWE, that the company, the Triple H is letting all this happen, because would we ever have seen a QR code glitch on the screen during a Vince McMahon era? Probably not.
We did.
Did we?
We did. Back in the early days of the Bray Wyatt stuff, when Vince was still in charge, we saw it. But I think at that point, that was when he was already loosening the reins a little bit, letting Triple H have a little more control. But Vince was still there when the first QR codes came out. The one thing that sets this round apart, though, in my opinion, is they actually mentioned the QR code on SmackDown last night. They came back from a commercial and they apologized for whatever the glitch was to put the code up. They said, "We know it happened on Monday. We don't know what's going on. Well, we think we know what's going on." Basically saying, "Yeah, you're right. It's Uncle Howdy, but we don't want to, we don't want to admit that yet." But they actually acknowledged it. They have never done that before.
They have never done that, right? No, I'm glad that they acknowledged it, because how many times this happened? This has happened like several different times, and it's gone unacknowledged. And it's good that they're finally calling it out and saying, "You know what? We're really sorry about that. We apologize about the glitch. We don't know what's going on. We're investigating it." But it looks like to me that this whole Uncle Howdy thing is really going to go up against the establishment of WWE. I think that they're really going to take the fight to WWE, and somehow, some way, they're just going to point the finger at them, and they're going to be the enemy. Like, they're going to be the enemy of the company.
It's going to be interesting, like how they sway it. I mean, there's a lot of people excited for it, so you can see it all being baby faces, but you're going to have to see how everyone performs action-wise. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah,
so,
I totally agree. I feel like that was the down. I mean, unpopular opinion possibly, but I felt like that was what kind of like it was always fun entrance wise. It was always cool vignette wise. You know, like it was always awesome in those ways. But there was always something disconnected from from me to like Bray Wyatt. Let's put it in that way. I loved his entrance. I thought it was a cool aura, but like there was always something in ring style that always, kind of pulled me away. And that's what I'm hoping doesn't happen to, this story. I'm hoping that I'm able to like still appreciate it after the fact that they debut, because this is all sweet. But what else do you bring to the table? On the show.
Yeah.
There is something interesting I want to point out that's kind of related, but not. Bo Dallas's WWE in-ring debut took place on May 23rd, 2014 on SmackDown. So we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of that.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, that's a Thursday this year, so I don't see anything happening on that day. But either SmackDown or Queen and King of the Ring, I think something might happen.
Well, I mean, as you know, with all the codes and the secrets and the clues that we've gotten with all these QR codes, I really do think that we're going to see it at Saudi Arabia. That we're going to see Uncle Howdy come and what a way for them to make an entrance though in Saudi Arabia, man, because just to introduce Uncle Howdy to the Saudi Arabia crowd is going to be really, really, really cool. It's going to be groundbreaking, to be honest.
So the speculation, as Courtney's typed over here, is that it's going to be the Wyatt Six. Obviously, Uncle Howdy has to be one of them, which is Bo. Who do you think the other five are going to be?
Eric.
Yep.
Eric. I can't think of his last.
Rowan.
Yeah. Ron Strowman, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Oh, maybe.
I've heard things about Nikki Cross.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard things about her, but I've also heard things about Alexa Bliss too, possibly being a part of this. The others, I don't really know who. That I have no. Who else would it be?
Yeah, there's some.
Yeah. Okay,
Reigns.
That name, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy. Yes, that's another name that I've heard.
Yeah.
So here's the problem. There have been some clues that may have just been there to mislead us. One that said they were broken, but Matt's down in Florida, so I don't see that happening. Or Matt's in TNA now, so I don't see that happening.
Oh yeah.
So I mean that would be fun. I mean we know that he's always had a high level of respect for Bray, and that would be fun to see the Hardys, show their respect by being part of this. But Alexa has to be. She has to be. There's no two ways about it.
But then again, Nikki Cross, she was broken as well, so that would be perfect to add her into it.
What was the last thing we saw of Nikki Cross?
She was doing that thing.
It's been a while.
Or whatever, right?
She's been walking around like zoned out. I mean, it's been a while since the last time she showed up, but the last time we saw her, she walked across the stage while we were focused on someone walking to the ring. And if you blinked, you missed her. But she's been doing this whole out there thing. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was help. That was to build up to this, too, as her being part of it. Now,
Nikki Cross would be perfect for
So just like what Courtney said, could Nikki become Sister Abigail?
I mean, possibly. But I think if you introduce Sister Abigail, it's probably going to be Sister. I honestly believe that spot is reserved for if their sister ever decides she wants to join them in this. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
But Nikki and Alexa, I think, are way up there. Rowan, obviously. How could you not have Eric Rowan as part of the Wyatt Six?
He's definitely a part of it. I'm not sure about Braun, but I know Eric.
And the thing is, we're seeing too much Braun right now, in my opinion, for him to be a part of it. The rest of these people haven't been seen on TV much.
That's true.
It's Dexter and Joe Gacy. So I'm kind of for this list that we see as being part of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of all this, because it's been such a huge buildup of clues and QR codes and things like that, and we've seen the documentary. We kind of had an inkling that Bo was going to come back in some way, shape, or form and carry the legacy on for his brother. And I'm here for it, man. I think we're all here for it. I think it's been way long overdue that we get something like this of this caliber. And if it does come out that it will happen at that King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia, man, Saudi is just going to fucking erupt. It is going to erupt. And then you bring it over here to the States. My God, it's packed. It just explode. So I'm here for it, man.
Imagine if they did it for like France. The crowd would be crazy into it. I don't feel like Saudi Arabia's crowd's all that. Like they're not. I don't think they're like.
Yeah, they're pretty conservative. I definitely don't think they're going to get a noise violation like France did. I don't think we will ever ever again unless we go back to France and do that. And it's
France was sick.
Yeah, France was amazing.
That show so fucking
out of every place that they've gone out of the country, France has just been lit. They proved that they are big time fans, and we've seen them go to Saudi Arabia. We've seen them go to here and there, but France was just perfect.
You know what?
It really brought back the Attitude Era for me, because the Attitude Era would just anybody who came out, man, they would just blow up for. If it was Al Snow, they blew up over Al Snow. If it was the Oddities, they blew up over the Oddities. So
yeah,
the odds of them seeing this are slim. I know that, but I just got to say, Lyon, France, we applaud you.
Yes,
that was amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Golfers clap for you. But that's the show that we've got for you today. And again, if you hear of any wrestling news, especially with everything that's going on with Women of Wrestling, let us know. Send us your links, send us your news, send us anything that you have, and we will definitely take a look at it and credit you if we use it on the show. In the meantime, do subscribe to us. I think our subscriptions have gone up just a little bit, so I'm excited about that. And we've been getting a lot of good views on YouTube. So please tell your friends, tell everybody that you know that loves wrestling, that we will bring you the latest and most current and relevant wrestling news on this show. And we will also do reviews for your favorite pay-per-views or PLEs that are coming up for both TNA and WWE and AEW too. And please go out and watch professional wrestling and any kind of wrestling in any way, shape, or form you can. Before we get out of here, of course, we do have to spread across the socials. Baron, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, I didn't mean to point down there. Just Scumbag Jordan with 3 N's on Twitter. I'm there, but not there. 1, 2, 3 N's.
Boom.
There you go. Scumbag Jordan with 3 N's. Max Magus.
Listen, before I do the social thing, I got a bone to pick with you guys, my fellow hosts. Okay, you're over here talking about how they need to bring how they should bring a PLE back to St. Louis. That's great. Has St. Louis ever hosted a pay-per-view or a PLE?
Yes, we have.
Oh, yes, sure. Have. Has Wisconsin, your part of the world, hosted a pay-per-view or a PLE?
Yeah, a few. Yeah.
Okay. You know how many pay-per-views / PLEs Denver's ever hosted? It's our turn, not you guys' turn. We've never had one.
Really? They've never hosted
one? That there was one
stuff.
We've had house shows. We've had Raws and SmackDowns. We've had a couple of the Raw SmackDown super shows come through, but we've never had an actual pay-per-view emanate from Denver.
Wow, that's remarkable. That's actually
that's crazy. Actually, think of Denver's considered like
it's a booming city.
That's why I'm appealing to the man right now. Mr. Triple H, this is your era. Bring me a PLE to Denver. I know I'm not there right now, but by the time you get all the details worked out, I'll be back there so I can go.
There you go.
All right. If you want to reach me, Triple H, at Max Magus, my other podcast is at Our Shots Podcast.
Oh, there you go. Triple H, you heard it. You heard it from the horse's mouth, man. Bring a PLE to Denver, Colorado. It's about damn time. It's about damn
That's all I'm saying.
So, not to make it longer, 2003 was the last time that they posted a major pay-per-view in Denver. And that was Vengeance 2003. That's all I'm finding.
What?
Maybe there might be more. Like, this is the first thing.
No, I looked it up. It says right here, no, there's nothing popped up in my list for pay-per-views for Denver.
Yeah, Vengeance 2003 was the last time that I had found that they held a pay-per-view. But still, nonetheless, that's extremely
Yep.
That's a great. That was a great year.
Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado.
All right, I take back my complaint. Carry on.
No, but that's your claim was valid though. Like 2003.
That's 21 years.
That's 21 years ago, dude. That's crazy.
The last time we had a pay-per-view is now an adult and can drink.
And by the way, that approximately had an attendance of 9,500 and received about over 300,000 pay-per-view buys. So can you imagine Denver packing in a good crowd for another PLE?
I think next week we have to figure out why. Max, we need to know why they have never hosted a major. There has to be a reason.
Vince always looked fairly negatively on Denver as far as the as far as it being a wrestling favoring town. The other thing is, can you imagine trying to do WrestleMania at Mile High Field with the open air stadium in April when sometimes it snows in April in Denver? On the other hand, do you know what the seating capacity at Mile High is without chairs on the field? 76,125.
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
Make it happen. There you go.
You get enough seats on that field, though, and you have a pretty big number there.
Yeah.
At least 200,000.
I wouldn't go that far. I was thinking more like 120.
No, I just, you know how WWE used to like to embellish the numbers. I think they're getting to a point where I think they're a little more honest now. They're not, hey, let's throw another 20K in there, just
listen,
just for breaking a record.
You and,
I worked for a prospect baseball league, and there was a team, and I don't know where they were, and I'm not going to say who it was, but they would kind of flub up their numbers every once in a while to say, we had the most attendance, blah blah blah. So I mean, it's always going to happen. You're going to have people flub up numbers and make stuff up, but
between you, me, and our listeners, when WWE was fluffing up their numbers, wasn't nearly as bad as when the other guys are doing it right now, and they're saying, "Oh, we have a sold-out arena." No, we've seen the pictures of all your empty seats over there, Mr. TK. Go back and take another line, buddy.
Damn it, we almost made an entire show without talking about AEW. Let's wrap it up.
What's funny? What's funny is I had a story about TK, and then I decided not to do it because I just don't care. I don't care.
Listen, I don't care to do the stories about TK, but I'm not going to pass up a chance to make fun of his coke snorting ass.
Well, look, there was a story, and people can go find this on their own, but there was a story that allegedly Tony Khan did not want his AEW roster to watch the Royal Rumble.
That's just petty.
That is super fucking petty. I know. Come on, TK.
Listen,
what the heck?
That's petty. You want to hear stupid? You've got all these guys on your roster that aren't doing stuff, right? Ricky Starks, we talked about him the other day. Moxley and Cesaro, they're not booked on this pay-per-view. Daniel Bryan needs a tag team partner for the pay-per-view. Who does TK book him as his tag team partner? Darby Allin, who's still injured from the bus, still has the ankle injury that he was taking time off to begin with.
Well, he made an appearance, didn't he? Didn't he just do a run-in spot on Dynamite?
I mean, I wouldn't have had him back for that either.
Yeah, he came back on Wednesday.
He just came back on Wednesday night, so
I mean, that's Ricky Starks, who hasn't done anything, is not injured, should have been the one to make the run-in and be put in the tag team. Or, I don't know, another member of the BCC?
Ricky Starks. Well, I was going to say Ricky Starks he went to social media. He said, "No, I'm not injured. I don't have any words on why I'm out of AEW right now."
Right. That's my point.
Yeah.
And listen, Darby Allin, you know what? All the love to Darby Allin. That guy just wants to perform and put on a show. He doesn't care if he's hurt. It's all about putting on the show for the fans. As the booker, as the promoter, you have to be the level head and go, you're still injured. You can't be back yet.
Take some time off. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, right. You know, but that's
I'm calm now.
That again, you know, it all goes back to, you know, taking breaks and doing stuff like this, you know. So J-Bone, how can they follow you on social media?
You can catch me on the X or the Twitter box, as I like to say. J-Bone5150. That's JAYBONE 5150. You can also catch me on that other little old podcast called Total Nonstop Impact. All things TNA. Thursday nights. Typically we do live reaction and follow it up with a review / news update show. A little under the weather this week, so I couldn't do that, but I have a tremendous crew that stepped in for me. Mr. Front Row Bill and our lovely Lady Satan herself, who just celebrated a birthday. Alicia was there, so that's awesome. Hopefully I will be back next week to do all things TNA. But yeah, you can catch me over there every Thursday.
There you go. And you can follow the social media pages for us at the Ramblers Pod on X, Ramblers Unleashed on Facebook. And of course, here on YouTube, you can please click the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That'll notify you anytime that we go live, or as J-Bone likes to say, smash those buttons and let your friends know about us. And you know, we're here for you. If there's anything that we can do for you, just let us know. And definitely, if you hear any wrestling news that you would like for us to cover, send it on over. You can hit any one of us up on social media, and we will definitely take a look at it. But that is going to wrap up the show for us this week. I'm sure we'll have more wrestling news next week as we continue on, and we'll get ready for King and Queen of the Ring. And we will give you that review. I don't know when we'll be on for King and Queen of the Ring, but we will definitely give you our prediction shows and all that. So in the meantime, please have a really, really good rest of your weekend. And until then, we'll talk. See you.
Enjoy wrestling.
Yes, enjoy professional wrestling. Please.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramblers Unleashed. Follow the show on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the bell icon for notifications of upcoming episodes.